I'm Toni, and this is my 1982 DeLorean. It's a beautiful car, not perfect, but neither am I. I bought it up in Sweden almost 15 years ago after, searching about 5 years to find that car. So I was pretty happy to find that car back, in 2005, a week after John DeLorean passed away. So that also had a little impact on the negotiation. So there was no negotiation after that, and it was quite a trip. The car was in bad shape. It was sitting in a barn for about 10 years, and the engine was gone. I mean, it was there, but was literally gone. The interior was, torn apart. Most of the parts were in the frunk, and the tires were from '83. So there was a lot of work to do, but that was the only car that suited my budget as a 25-year-old. The car speaks for itself. Nowadays, when you look at cars, new cars or even, kind of young timers, whether they're super expensive and not reliable, or cheap and not reliable, and I had to, to kind of figure out what I was able to afford. But since I was a little child, I knew that I will get a DeLorean one day. It was clear, and it wasn't about the movie Back to the Future. So I saw the car the first time when I was around maybe 10 on the road, and since then I knew, hey, I would like to have one of those one day, but I didn't have a clue. I didn't even know details. And back in the days, we didn't have internet as you have it today. So in the 90s, if you wanted to look at pictures of a DeLorean, you started a fight with your family because the phone didn't work, and your siblings waited to go online, and it took like 10 minutes to download a picture of a DeLorean. So just to give an insight on how it was back in the days. And then I started to dig in, and I knew, okay, it's a great car, but there's a couple of things you need to take care of. Then I started to look at prices in the US, in Europe, and it was way out of my budget. And then a friend of mine who was importing old Volvos from Sweden to Switzerland gave me a hint. Yeah, so I called that Swedish number. I talked to that guy, great guy, by the way. And a couple of weeks later, I drove up to Sweden with a trailer. I picked the car up. The DeLorean was built during 2 years, basically, in 1981 and 82. And the history is actually, it's fantastic. There's even a couple of movies about it, there's a book about it, and there's a lot to read about it. But the most important thing is the combination of on how this car got together, especially also considering the time that from the first drawing, first idea, till it was basically road legal. What I really like about the car, of course, is the styling. So it's a Giugiaro styling. The chassis is from Colin Chapman Lotus, basically a Lotus Esprit. The engine is a PRV6. It's a V6. Actually an engine that people in Europe know very well because it's built into Volvo 740s, Lancia Temas, Renaults, and so on, and also in the DeLorean. In here, it's a bit different spec, but it's still a PRV. It has around 130 horsepower. It's a 5-speed manual, and I used to use it as a daily driver. It's very handy. It's reliable as long as you take care of the car. And that's what a lot of people ask me at the gas station. Oh, it's a DeLorean, but they break down, right? They're slow, and it's aluminum. Well, no, no, and no. So it's not aluminum, it's stainless steel, brushed stainless steel. They're not slow, actually. I mean, they're slow compared to Bugatti. Well, there's a couple of stories. Some of them, yeah, I cannot tell you, but I can tell you how long it took until the car was road legal. So I got the car in 2005, brought it to Switzerland, and I didn't have money left, of course. The car was so expensive, I mean, compared to my budget, so I had to take step by step. A friend of mine had a Lancia dealership, so they knew about the engine, so they took care of it. No pressure. We were working on it for like 3 months, every once in a while, and so the engine was kind of good then. And I was like, okay, let's go. Let's get it road legal. And here in Switzerland, it's a different story. If you want to get an imported car road legal, it's quite a process. So what I had to do is I had to get the noise measured from the car. I had to go to the southern part of Switzerland, pay over 1,000 francs on an airfield, drive by in front of a microphone with a certain speed, certain gear, 10 minutes. So 60 Ks in a third gear, 30 Ks in a second gear, and so on. And then they recorded the noise, and the same also with the honk, who sounds like a small elephant. And then I had to go to another, to get another test for the emission. And that was a pretty expensive test, about 2,500 Swiss francs. And yeah, I failed the first time because the engine didn't run perfectly. So they called me after an hour. They said, "Hey, forget it. We're not gonna continue because you're gonna fail anyway, and we don't want to charge you the full amount again. Then when you have to come back." So. I went there. It was in the French-speaking part of Switzerland. I had to go there, pick it up, drive back to Zurich, and get the engine adjusted. It happened. I went back there, and so on. And then I had a problem with the gull-wing doors. Here, depending on the region of Switzerland where you are, it is easier or less easy to get these cars road legal. So the first time they showed up to get it road legal for the inspection, they said, okay, now the doors, no, I think you should kind of change that into normal coupe doors. I was like, how do you want me to do that? I'm not an engineer. And that's how the car was basically, built and everything. So yeah. So back and forth, we explained, that's the car. We showed all the documents and so on. And yeah, it took us from 2005 to 2008 until the car was road legal. It wasn't just issues with the authorities. Once we lost water, the engine almost blew up, so we had to get that fixed. And then we fixed the whole chassis underneath. We changed all the rubber parts. We did a lot of work, and the budget was always tight, so you just did one thing after the other. And yeah, it took me 3 years. So it was quite a ride. And my friends, they were always like, yeah. I told them, maybe next week it's going to be road legal. And that for about 3 years. So it's still a joke. They don't believe it when I pull up with the car. I got it cheap. I did it my way. I wanted to get all the paperwork done myself. I just wanted to talk to the authorities myself, and that's tough. So I had to learn it the hard way. But yeah, it worked out. It was tough, but I'm very happy with it. Yeah. The car looks great from almost every angle, whether it's from the front, from the side, from the back. It's just a terrific job that they did in Italy, designing this car. It's fantastic. And but if I had to say one thing about the car that I really like the most, it would be the stainless steel, panels. Yeah. And that's why I ordered a Cybertruck. He has a cat and, not a cat, but a cat. Yeah. I mean, a cat, yeah. What's a cat? A cat? A catalytic, he has a cat, or how we say in Switzerland, but it's a catalytic converter. Thank you, by the way.